Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. As we know, ever since the beginning of 2020, countries have responded and made tremendous efforts to effectively control the pandemic situation. Information technologies such as AI, big data, cloud computing were applied to identify, track, and forecast outbreak, help speed up medical imaging analysis, limit zone access by intelligent temperature measurement system, perform tasks by robots, and provide remote consultation, etc. Keeping in view all these important factors and the implication, this webinar will shed the light on how artificial intelligence-based system could be of help while fighting against COVID-19. I would like to I would like to introduce today's presenter, Ms. Iram Afzal. Ms. Iram Afzal did her Master in Information Technology from NUST, Islamabad, Pakistan, following MicroMaster in Data Science and Statistics from MIT, USA. She is working at NUST and also attached with various international organizations in the field of machine learning and data science, which includes Omdina and Women Who Code. He has a more than 5-year practical and teaching experience in this field. Thank you so much, Ms. Iram, for your time and honoring us to speak at the IDA Lab. Notably, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on the social media, on the LinkedIn and the Facebook pages of IDA Lab. You are all kindly requested to post your question in the chat box, and we will try our best to answer all your queries. And definitely, we would love to hear from you. Thanks again, Ms. Ira. And now the floor is open to you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, ma'am.
Yes, please, Ms. Ira. Can we start?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me and letting me to speak over here. So, basically, today, as ma'am has discussed, we are going to discuss that would not be basically totally webinar. I would like that it should be interactive so that all of us could interact and know what are we going to know about machine learning and AI in generically and specifically in the field of AI. So, as the title is Role of AI with Battling COVID-19. So, as she has introduced that I am currently teaching at National University of Sciences and Technology. I'm also part of Women Who Code Data Science track. Uh, with Omdina, I'm working as ML engineer where we do various projects uh, uh, in the field of machine learning and AI for the better of social goods. So, leading upon these, I am also attached with Women in AI Academy, where I am teaching data sciences and machine learning to non-technical domain people or women. So let's continue with our agenda point. Today we will discuss that what is machine learning and what is the role of machine learning overall in healthcare, leading towards how machine learning and AI battling COVID-19, that is basically pressing issue these days. And then we'll conclude that how can we basically further proceed in the domain of AI taking healthcare along. So, if you ask that predicting the future uh, isn't magic, it is artificial intelligence. Believe me, it looks like magic. I always share my story with everyone that I also shared with ma'am a few days back that in 2011 or 12, when I was doing my MS in information technology at National University of Sciences and Technology. My data mining project was face boundary detection. So it took 4 months of mine and various stressing hour, many sleepless nights just to find out facial boundary with thousands of basically photo data set. But what you see nowadays, a few years later, I just opened Snapchat, and when I placed my face in the front of the camera, it was basically not detecting my face. It was detecting my eyes and changing the color of my eye, placing sunglasses around my eyes, changing the lips colors, applying various basically uh, uh, you can say uh, effects on my face. So if I just related that with the tough work I have been doing in my master project, that was just detecting facial uh, boundary, and it took many days, many sleepless nights, and I hardly could do that. And now everyone can do just placing their face in front of camera. So this that was magic for me, and that was magic for everyone. If you talk about any basically computer scientist who has done his or her master degree back to 90s or early 20s, they will find it magic. But that is not magic, as all of us are playing with artificial intelligence and machine learning and bringing that into our life. So that this quote is really basically express my feeling that the prediction or predicting future is not magic, it is just an artificial intelligence. So our first agenda is what is machine learning. So here we'll understand the concept of machine learning and its application, what is it and why is it important and why is it playing the role of magician. Before going into detail, let's just have a quick review. How much are you familiar with ML processes? So, just from our day to day life interactivities, if you would let me know that how closer are you with machine learning, and how are you basically dealing well aware of the machine learning process, that would be easier for me to further continue with it. So we have chat box. If you would like to pose question over here, I would take one to three questions, and then we'll continue. So please, you can tell me in percentages. You can say no, you can say you are well aware, but you are unable to describe that. So we will review this after basically knowing about processes. Yeah, anyone. I can see Anusha Anwar, Hala. Sorry if I mispronounced name. Rima. Anyone? Okay, Fatma just posted that well aware about the application of ML in many scenarios such as healthcare, business, etc. Yeah. So Fatma, my question is process of machine learning. I am still saying that if we are using it in business or healthcare, what is the process? I know how it is used, but I don't know how it works exactly. That's great. Hala will see that how it works exactly. So let's coming back towards our discussion.
Yes, Miss Iram, please proceed.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going. Basically, it's allowing me everything instead of going towards my window of PowerPoint slides. No.
Is there any problem in connecting the slides presentation?
Yeah, basically there is problem in connecting slides. So I am trying to
Just share the screen.
see it's allowing me to share everything instead of my slides. So are my slides visible? Can you see it now?
Yes, yes, please. Can you open the
Okay, thank
slides?
you. Thank you, thank you.
No, the
So,
slides are still not open. Just your screen is shared, Miss Iram.
okay, that's the reason. Let me share it again.
I think next time we should not disconnect. It should be there.
Yeah, if it is working fine, let so
Yeah,
is
no,
my
it's there.
it's
Yes,
fine now.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay, so basically, what is machine learning? If we see the definition of machine learning back to 1960s, it was defined by Arthur Samuel that machine learning is the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. If you are from computer science background, you must be well aware that if we are using programming languages, always we have to code something to see the result. Whereas machine learning is something uh, different from those codes. What we do is that we train our data set or we train our model, so whenever next in future we inject something to that model, it automatically generates result. We don't need to program every time we have to basically see the result. We just create a model, and whenever we want to see the similar result, we inject data set and automatically results are being displayed. So, following another example or another definition that was defined by Tom Mitchell in 1997, that is basically current application of machine learning. A computer is said to learn from experience, that is denoted with E, with respect to some task, that is denoted with T, and some performance measure P. So we can say that if its performance on T as measured by P improves with experience. So what machine learning does is that we always have task and we always basically measure its performance. When our its accuracy is improved, we can choose that model and we can choose basically that set of instruction and use it for further future uh, uses or basically experiences. So here is a very well defined model of machine learning. We train data set, and once data set is trained, we apply various ML algorithms. Once algorithms are defined, model data is input. Mean the data from another application or another source is put on basically injected. Same algorithms are applied, and then predictions are made. So if predictions are basically well defined and working fine with us, what we do, the same cycle repeats for other set of tasks that have similar orientation of data or have similar objectives. So here comes use cases which we were discussing, that how machine learning is being used. So machine learning is basically taking place every sphere of life, from traveling to credit card insurance, from health, social medias, and marketing, business, etc. So uh, in traveling, we see that dynamic pricing can be predicted, flight prediction and delays can be basically taken care of those things before ahead. We always used to be well aware, or our flights intimate us that this flight can be delayed due to fog prediction or condition of the weather. So in traveling, we use machine learning and data science. We prior prior predict that whether this incident going to happen or not, and if this happened, so we always have delay margins that whether these things could happen and what is the alternative. Similarly, if you see the marketing, we use machine learning and prediction for modeling, and basically we find the customer, that which customer would be well aware or would going to take our product. We are going to, you know, a very good example of social media. If you see that a few days back I just bought my new phone, and I was talking with my friend that I will buy my phone cover in few days. Then I talked to my sibling, then I talked to another person, and when I opened my Facebook, the ads were showing me the phone covers, because it was listening and my voice was basically predicting. Similar things happen when you search something at Google or Facebook or some social media. So uh, customized ads are shown to you. So machine learning is almost everywhere. From healthcare, if you see disease prediction or medication effectiveness is already basically predicted before delivering that medicine to patient or testing to that. Same goes with credit insurance. If you see that you missed received calls from your bank, that whether you are interested in buying such service or not. So prerequisite, they already have your prerequisite, their ML model predict that this person has account, this person has this much amount, the prerequisites are fulfilling on this person, and he or she can buy this service from bank. So they directly call you that we have these services for you and you can avail that. And same goes with self driving cars or automobiles and social media and everywhere. So a further into machine learning a model. So at abstraction level, we have basically we have data, and then we have training data model. So once data is trained, we build proper model which can predict anything, and our prediction outcomes comes over here. So at abstraction level, we always have data, we should have data. So these days data is most precious thing. So once we have data, we train data, make model, and predictions are made. So further, when we see that training model, so what processes or what things involves for the process of data modeling. So first of all, we define objective, because we have always raw data comes from various resources with various variables. So first of all, you should know that what is your objective, what you want to get from that data, whether you want to get uh, basically data related to sales item, or you want to get data related to automobile option, or you want to get data for the fashion industry. So your objective should be clear. So once you define your objective, you gather data, you make data according to your defined variable. Rest of the data is discarded, or rest of the data is none of your use. Once you gather data, then you prepare data for your basically you can say that you can prepare your data for processing. So once data is prepared, uh, like we can say that null values are removed, data type is different, it is changed, feature engineering is made. You must heard about the word that we make two or three columns and make one column. Once it is done, then exploratory analysis are made, then visualization of data are taken in place. So once you see that what is the spread of data, what are the exploratory analysis, then you may, what you do is that you build a model, then you evaluate the model, that whether it is accurate model or not, whether it is costing us much or not. For example, if you are building a model that are tackling 100% accuracy, but it is consuming more computational power, it is consuming more machines, and it takes more data sets, so you might not go with that. You might look for some other model which might cost 95% accuracy but is using limited resources. So once model evaluation is done, then prediction is made. So basing upon trends, basing upon various situations, basing upon various elements which are linked together, prediction is made. And in machine learning and AI, there are 99% predictions which are uh, proving correct, which are basically are playing major role in taking major decision, whether it is weather forecast, whether it is related to flight schedule, whether it is related to some pandemic disease or whatever. So prediction are 99% considered as playing a vital role and proving right. So what, let's see the real life example of machine learning. So how we basically implement that and how we use that. For example, we are buying uh, apples from store, and what we want uh, to do is that uh, we have various characteristics of this fruit. We want that our model should automatically uh, show me the quantity or price of the apples I want. I have already basically have mine, maybe the learning one in the form of learnings. That one can be bright apples that are sweeter than the paler one, and learning two is the small the smaller red apples are sweeter only half of the time. Like it states that if red apples are sweeter, but if they are in smaller in size, they can be sweeter in half of the time and cannot be sweeter in rest of the half time. Again, we have learning three, like small, pale, or not sweet at all. So if the apple is pale, that can never be sweet. So we are not going to choose that. Crispier apples are juicier one. And the fifth one is green apples are tastier than the red. And six is you don't need apple anymore. So these are, we can say, the heuristic which all of us already know and we have already experienced. That is what machine learning does. So we train that these are 5 6 learning. Whenever you see apple, you have to basically evaluate apple on these 6 learning. So it always show us result basing upon these 6 learnings. All right. So uh, as you are all of you are from technical background and basically computer scientists, so if we asked you, are you were asked that write a computer program to choose apple basing upon the learning we just done. So you might write something like, if bright red apple, and if size is big, apple is sweet, And if crispy apple is juicy, what else? So basically what you do is that you make combination of rules. We call this rules in the language of machine learning or programming. So in real life experiences, we just code that, we just basically define these characteristics. So you normally use these rules to choose the apple for complex choices. So instead of writing, what you do is that you will create a generic algorithm, what machine learning does, and as a result, it will basically return a result that whether the apple is juicier, whether the apple is sweet, whether the apple is not sweet at all, basing upon the condition we have taught to our algorithm. So that's all about machine learning. And believe me, I have worked on small machine learning project, you can say natural language processes that are considered the easier one because it is on based on data. I have worked on that. It works on these lines. You basically makes learning and apply those learning through algorithm. And I have worked on detecting anomaly from Mars, from the huge data set of the images. So the process was same, data set was different, objective was different, but the process was same. Like you have rules, you have learning, you have experience, and you have to convert those experiences in the form of algorithm, and algorithm returns you the result whatever you feed them. So if you miss any of the thing or any variable that was very important for your objective, you wouldn't able to basically get that result because machine doesn't know what you want, what are the variables. Whatever you feed to your machine, you will get only that result. Okay, so going into deeper, what are the machine learning algorithms? So machine learning algorithm is evaluation of regular algorithm. But we can say that as a computer scientist, as from technical background, we are well aware that what are the algorithms and what are the theoretical concept of various algorithms. So machine learning is also basically evaluation of our regular algorithm. It makes your program smarter by allowing them automatically learn from your data set. So from your data set, it automatically learns because you have just tell or told him the machine learning algorithm that these are the set of instructions you have to follow and these are experience you have to do that. So for algorithm, we divide two basically phase: training phase and testing phase. Training phase is the one we define using our experience. That can be 20% of data set, or that can be 30% of data set, or that can be 50% of data set. So it varies according to the basically sensitivity of the data or sensitivity of the case we are dealing. So we choose chunk of similar data set, we train our model, and rest of the model is just basing upon that. So testing phase can be the new data we inject to it, or we have already, if we have already data set and we just predict that from the training phase. So, well, for writing algorithm, we have various type of categories or maybe algorithm like supervised learning. Supervised learning is something as the buzzword I have written, train me, phase train me. So, you have data set and you know the output. What you have to do is that you tells computer that this is data and this is output, and whenever new data comes you have to just check that whether these categories are fulfilling or not. If this is fulfilling, you have to return this, and if these uh, basically variables are not uh, belonging to your training set or your learning, put that category into another one. So in simplest, supervised machine learning is something when we are well aware about our result. We know that this is output, this is input, and uh, mm, from new data set we are just categorizing that which category our data set is following. So whenever you do supervised learning, you always come across Google's spam, basically email categorization of data set, that if you must have experienced that we have spam emails and some emails in our inbox. So spam emails are one which are suspicious one. Those can be from someone who is not in our list, or some site that is not allowed from my email address. So Gmail is just checking that whether the recipient is available in the list, then it's sent into your inbox. Otherwise, sometime it's sent back to basically in spam folder. So what is unsupervised learning? In unsupervised learning, we have data set, but we are not well aware from basically about our output, like predictions. We are not well aware about that how pandemic is spreading fastly. So what we can do is that we have algorithm for unsupervised learning. We are going to inject our data set and our objective, basically algorithm defined, and we are letting our algorithm to know that tell me what is the trend of our my data set, where is it basically going, how that data set can be useful, and how is that related to my objective. So unsupervised learning is something where you are not well aware about your output. You have your data, you have your objective, but you don't know that what what can be the result. So your algorithm tells you that basing upon these factors, this can be predicted. So prediction always can be 99% good, or can go on other side as well. So the third one is reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning is hit or trial, like you basically uh, program your robots. The simplest example is like we basically train our pets. You know, if you have cat or dog, you know, you train it, and once you train uh, it for 5 or 3 or 4 times, after particular period of time he or she learns the behavior. Same goes with our children. We basically teach them that how they can spend time with machines, or how we develop their habits in learning, in studying book, or spending more time in reading. So reinforcement is something you train your model, and mostly it is used in robotics or healthcare, where we use automated equipment for operations or surgeries, etc. Okay, coming back to Apple example, that is one of my favorite example. Believe me, and the easiest one. So we have raw data. We have various apples. We what we do is that we will number the apples, and each apple have various characteristic, like sweeters one, its size and its color, and uh, its color, size. That these are the two things we were basically discussing earlier. So when it is injected as raw data, supervisor basically what supervisor will add details of these items. Then it will train the data set and define what are the desired output. It then injected to algorithms. algorithm will proceed, and model is trained. Once the model is trained, so here that is basically training phase. You input that is testing phase. You input another apple, model is already trained, it will check that what is its color and what is its shapes, and as output which we have already defined over here, it will show us that it is apple. All right, so that's all about machine learning and its processes. So next, we have machine learning in healthcare. We'll see that how machine learning is basically how machine learning is clarifying. So uh, I will just basically share one example. Uh, a child suffering from dystonia, a disease. The child can't walk or speak, but he was fine with the rest of basically system. Like he was he was okay in eating and other basically activities. So that was the real project with the hashtag of HMS Minimat. The Harvard Medical School presented this example in one of the basically contribution towards medicine article or report, that a 6-year child suffering from dystonia, the child was included undiagnosed disease network around the USA and was referred to a proper specialist because it was doctors were unaware that what things can improve his basically just dystonia disease or his basically walking and speaking ability back, because the child was too little, and if they do something on trial or on, they might not, that might not good for the health of the child, because he was too small to be basically injected with various chemicals or everything. So through science it was defined that uh, the the kid can basically get normal by using one type of chemical, and after using that chemical for a year, the child was working fine. Sorry, so the thing which couldn't be discovered over the span of 6 years or 4 years were discovered or done within a 1 year time, and child were doing back doing good. So just taking that example further, how data science can be helpful in machine learning. So it it can be helpful in machine learning as possessing accurate data. For example, a set of images uh, are basically earlier detection can tell us about the tumor or cancer sizes sorry, in the breast cancer size dimension at earlier stages. uh, if you see, the normal practice in cancer detection is that only patients test is taken, and history of the patient is taken, and basing upon that result are made, and that can take time to diagnose which type of the cancer it is and at which stage it is. So now we have basically various cases already, we have already data set, and such case can be found in that data set or in the middle of that data set, and we can predict that which at earlier stages that which kind of the cancer is it, and which stage of the cancer is, and basically diagnosis and treatment can be done easily. So the report already states that AI can perform uh, uh, as well as human does to nullify or to basically decrease stress or exertion factors in human life. So if you see, we always in previous few decades we don't consider stress or exertion as diseases that was came into limelight or highlight in few years back when psychiatrists and psychologists were being consulted for uh, such diseases. So now machine learning and AI is helping to basically decrease these two stressing, you can say, diseases. So the third, by continuing third thing is that new medications are being inventing and decreasing people's suffering. So if you see previously, there used to be heuristic uh, approaches and in the field of medicine. Now new medicine are being discovered and applied on human and animal as well. So whenever something or some disease uh, occurred, those medicine are already available and suffering can be decreases automatically. Data sets. So uh, nowadays data sets are already available, as we discussed in previously, that in the case of breast cancer or tumor, we have huge data set, which on that data set machines are already trained, and machines are basically so intelligent they can detect the disease and uh, device drugs or medicine uh, instantly, instead of basically wasting time in diagnostic process or basically finding which kind of disease is that. So if we say how machine learning or AI is helping in the various field of medicine, medicine is also one fast field. So it is helping in disease identification and diagnostic. We can easily basically doctors and medical department can easily diagnose that what kind of disease is it. Medical imaging, then again medical imaging, you can say the what we used to do for scanning, for for scanning or surgeries. We have always been using laser treatment and something. So uh, at moment we have such huge data set on various like medical imaging related department, and predictions can be done using medical imaging field. So drug discovery is also one of the major, you can say, domain of medicine. Previously, once the disease was basically diagnosed, then medicine was discovered. So now the things are going parallel. So disease are basically predicted earlier, and to cure that disease, drugs and medicine is also basically defined, or you can say manufactured beforehand. So it is also used in personalized medical treatment. So every person can have the various diseases, like if someone is diabetic patient and have cardiac diseases and is suffering from COVID-19, so he or she requires some personalized treatment as for one who is just suffering with uh, COVID positive. side of you know symptoms. Smart health records, like if you have any disease, so your records can be accessed or easily accessible to each and every medical specialist. He or she can basically personalize your treatment basing upon your record instead of reading file. And if you have misplaced one of your records, you don't need to basically keep that pile. Each your small record can basically make it easier to treat your disease or diagnose whatever you are uh, you say suffering. Again, disease prediction is what we were saying. Disease identification or prediction is same like if you are facing or you are suffering from these diseases, chances of this disease are there. So you can take you start taking precautionary measures, or doctors start giving you precautionary measures that don't do this. Chances are there that this disease can be basically overcome after this period of time because of because the outcome of these diseases or side effect of these diseases. So these are just definitions of every field we have just discussed. I will skip it because we don't have much time to discuss this. So that is one of the example, healthcare AI. You can see that that is very interesting use case. I just put that slide for all of you. If you got time, you should basically find out that how healthcare AI is digitizing medical field and how it is playing basically smartly in the field of machine learning. COVID-19 and AML. So, as we have discussed that before the world was even aware of the threat posed by COVID-19, AI system had detected the outbreak of unknown type of this phenomena in the people of Republic of China. You must be well aware that by end of 2019, I by myself heard about this, and that was I was considering that that can be myth. How in 21st century such cases can be happen. So Alibaba, and there are various AI domain which has already predicted about COVID-19 before it taken place in the March. So I want to show few things. I think we should check them by end of our slide, because if I'm afraid if I stop slide sharing, we might have again problem of resharing it. So I have added these links. These are examples of how uh, data science or MLI showing us result. First one is World Health Organization website. It visually showing you trends. It really showing you that how in which area how many people uh, are affected, how many are cured, and at which ratio it is spreading. It is basically continent level, country level, and region level as well. And here are the two coronavirus vaccine show promising result in phase 1 human trial. That is one interesting video. If we had time, we'll see that. And the other, the two were like scientists one and WHO airborne transmission risk. So the, the science have proved that uh, the basically virus exists in the air, and that can transmit from one person to another person. And again, there is another good video that says if shutdowns were not implemented, 530 million people would suffer with this infection. So it has the prediction, maybe you can say that prediction has saved 530 million lives. So here is an interesting example that how machine learning or AI helps everyone in COVID-19. So detection. First phase is detection. When it was detected, so early warning detection anomalies and digital smoke signal, for example, Blue Dot is one of the Canadian basically organization which is working in the field of health AI. It has predicted about first about COVID-19 in earlier 2020 and late 2019. So once it is detected, diagnostic can be done. So pattern recognition using medical images and symptoms data using CT scan or whatever that were made. Then prevention. So once it was warned, it was diagnosed that it exists. Then we basically entered into the prevention phase. So for prevention, it was calculated the probability of infection, that how this disease can affect other person. So Epic Risk was one of the contributing organization which basically predicted that it will goes exponentially. So once that was predicted, surveillance was taken place. So monitoring and tracking in real time were made. Then information were spreaded through basically personalized news and content moderation were done, and information were correct information were spreaded through social media and various network. If you see, you can see various uh, animations, videos, leaflets at international level and at local level being distributed, and it is being basically informed as well that don't be well aware from the chaos, be well aware from misinformation. So in prevention, that was not just that preventing from the disease, but it basically took in three phases again. So prevention and response were basically taken parallelly. How we can say that, how if we see that lockdown was basically taken place, hospital were overcrowded. So how the delivery of the items, how the delivery of various medical and day to day life items can be basically delivered. So one of the robot was invented. You can see from the link as well I have shared that during social linking, one robot is doing really well. So service automation deploying, uh, you can say like virtual assistant and chatbots uh, to spread the information to the local people, or with the various people, so they would able to basically fight with this COVID. And then recovery, taking economic recovery through satellite, GPS, and social media, etc. So these are all organizations which are playing role as well. So that's the model. In another form, you can say that the same things are being done. I have taken this from this resource. That is a really good article to read. If you get a chance, please do read that. So, how digital technology or AI basically helping people uh, in this basically tough time. So, it is teaching these cycles to every people, like contact contact tracking. That uh, how can we track where are basically which type of service is available, quarantine and self isolation awareness, then screening of infection, again clinic management, planning and tracking, and medical supplies. So these are the phases which have been basically implemented throughout this period, and these are the fields which have been basically addressing or making them making improvement in these fields throughout. So this is one example that was taken at from my institute nurse, that was done by one of professor at my university. So that was done military hospital Rawalpindi in one of the city of Islamabad, which basically that image was taken in, you can say, uh, in the mid of April, or by end of April, just defining that how this curve, that basing upon real time data set, how this disease is spreading and where it will basically go by 15th of uh, June. So it was brightly above 1 lakh or 80,000 plus in the mid of, you can say, June. So what was done in that? Uh, Basically, it was time series data. Natural processing was done on that, and machine learning and data science was applied over here. In this data set, relevance countries were find out and prediction were made on the trend basing upon past and days, and the countries which have similar situations. So then compare that whether our data set is going well or not, and again tested with other countries. So once the model is developed, we can replicate with various countries or various basically region, just to show that whether the trend is same or not. So this was applied with the little in other countries, maybe India or some other neighboring country, just to check that whether it is going uh, on same lines as we have predicted or not. And this basically curve has helped the government to make the policies, or to make basically SOPs for lockdown and day to day active for day to day activities. So this model was basically AI based dengue fever prediction using deep learning. So this model was done for a dengue disease that was basically spread in Islamabad from past 2.5 years. The same model was basically used just to know that which hospital is basically overcrowded, which hospital has more patient of suffering from COVID, so that people would able to know that this hospital is overcrowded. So in case of emergency, they should basically look upon alternative opportunities or alternative hospital or medical centers to avoid hassle or going there and don't find anything over there. Again, a chatbot was basically designed, which helps the people upon the current situation about precautionary measures, about the symptoms, basically guideline. You can say that this was helpline for general public, because if you see, in the month of March, that was basically chaos among everyone. Everyone was frightened and were not able to basically go to doctor and for screening, because screening uh, kits were also limited. So these chat boards were very helpful. People use them just to know about the symptoms, know about the right guideline, and taking precautionary measures from them. Okay. Coming back to the conclusions, I am taking a few extra minutes just winding this up. So, as we have seen that if you see the purpose of linking uh, machine learning process and then showing you that these are the areas where we can use was just to link that and just to let you know that if you are student or if you are researcher and you are really curious about machine learning and AI, because it is buzzword and everyone in technical field is at least discussing this or basically trying to basically take part in this domain. So first of all, you learn that what is machine learning and how it works. And believe me, I am telling you again and again, like as we have done for the Apple example, every complex model or easier model is modeled like this. So if you want to work in machine learning and contribute in healthcare center, basically centers are domain, what you need to do is that you can consult to the doctor or you can basically find out that what are the diseases, what are the symptoms, and this is data set how we can automate that by just basically defining simple, you can say rules or learning and giving that algorithm to your system. And you are so lucky that nowadays we have so many automated machine learning algorithms, machine learning, you can say uh, plugins. You even don't need to write multiple or thousand lines of code. Only embedding your basically data set with the model, you just need to write 3 to 4 lines and understand how your data will work. You can create a good machine learning model and application, and that are basically in demand as well. So potential areas to contribute, if you want to contribute, are like designing and managing professional network services can unite doctors experience worldwide. AI make the comparison of non-standard cases possible. For example, we can quickly identify that these are the standardized basically set of instruction and these are non-standardized set of instructions. So once you have basically AI based model, so the transparency is always there. So you can say that data can be matched quickly, effectively, and under high quality research. You you can play a very pivot role in making basically transparency in the field of AI. You can remove chaos and you can remove unambiguous thing over there. Then medical imaging is one of the major field that can be done. Even at cell level, we can diagnose that these are basically micro or more than microscopic basically cell that machine or model can read out, because we are reading the pixels and we can basically define a better result in the form of diagnostic. Okay, and then even providing the right diagnostic to the doctor is still question, because once we diagnosed, whether a specialist doctor would able to accept it or not. And what if machine learning, because we have given it the right data and right direction, ML application can help basically develop the strategies that these are basically defined and tested with various model and various layer, so this can be helpful further. All right, so I will conclude over here. So if you have any question, you may ask, and if you have time, we can see one at least one website on the basically which have used data science and machine learning algorithm, and one video. Otherwise, I have basically added them in link. I will share with you. You can check them at your own time. All right.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ram, for an informative and very well explained session. We really, really enjoyed, and I think so. All the other attendees has also enjoyed. Now the floor is open to all our participants. We are really thankful to them as well for attending and for their time. So please feel free to ask the question if you have any. And I think so, Ms. Iram, we have received already one question. If you can open the chat box, please.
Yeah.
From Dr. Noor Shahida Binte Muhammad Jamil.
All right.
Okay.
So, Dr. Shaida has basically posted a question. From your point of view, what are the risks or disadvantages of artificial intelligence and machine learning? First. Second one is what worries you about the arriving era of artificial intelligence, and the third one is what if the predictions are wrong, especially in the health field. So, yeah, very well, and basically great questions. Yeah, Dr. Shaida, yeah, you are really right. Like, what are the risks and disadvantages of artificial intelligence? So, as per my experience, up till now, I have touched almost every domain of project from every domain. Like, if it is from business, medicine, from you can say exploring the surfaces of other planet, marketing. So, I can be wrong, but my experience and my understanding is like there are always pros and cons. So risks and disadvantages are only basically less knowledge. So when you don't have spent much time on defining your objective and understanding your data and gathering your data, then your best artificial model will be in the worst form and can be the drastic for basically every domain. So uh, what I would suggest is that when I am working in the field of healthcare, I should have at least one. We can have many, but I should have at least one expert from that domain who is basically doing everything with non-traditional method, and you need to understand or need to work with that. For example, if you are diagnosing cancer, so you should work with the specialist doctor, and you should know that what are the symptoms, what does mean by this curve, what does mean by this size, what does mean by this cell, and what if its behavior is not like this. So once you will have basically expert knowledge, only then you can basically define a good model. So that is not disadvantage of artificial intelligence, that is disadvantage of lack of knowledge. We have lack of domain knowledge, or we might have lack of knowledge in the field of using that tool, which may lead towards disadvantage of artificial intelligence. So it is always good practice to basically have a team of good data scientists, or the one statistician who could understand that whether we have right variables or right basically factors of uh, studying the disease, and one expert who is doing this you can say practically with the yeah, not using artificial intelligence method, or using traditional method, and you make a small demo for him and let ask from him that whether this model work or not, then you basically bring that into you can say into basically expert field. Then what worries you about arriving era of artificial intelligence? Yeah, so basically what for my basically I'm saying everything from my experience, because whenever you go deeper into these field, you have many expert and everyone tells you about it from his or her experience. So when you say that what worries me about or us about artificial intelligence is replacing human beings. So wherever we go, we always would be looking upon or looking after human beings. So we can say that it will lessen the burden of human being, but it cannot replace human being at least for 20 more years, because human beings are the one who has basically invented them, who have been basically using them, who are going to basically deploy them. So my concern regarding this is that uh, replacing human with artificial intelligence is not best solution. But every big organization, every big industry is basically going towards that. And I don't know how that would work out, but that would be the challenging one. And if the prediction goes wrong, yeah, that is one of the major thing is that uh, in pandemic, you see, I just basically experiment one data set for my own sake, just to see the prediction from Pakistan. So when there was lockdown, that was not that much exponentially, which were basically going trouble to triple what we were basically expected. So if our prediction goes wrong, so there will always be other factors, because machine learning is working, or artificial intelligence is working on whatever we have fed them. So if such cases occur, we always have uh, other techniques, that how to deal imbalance situation if other factors are basically uh, uh, affecting them. Like in Pakistan, lifting lockdown was affecting, unawareness for was affecting, poverty was affecting. That's why my curve was not going towards basically direction what I was expecting. So in that cases, there are always some factors. So that's why we always do the pilot. We know that these are the basically seen factors, we can ignore them, and these are risky factors, we need to tackle them at every stage. So in that situation, we basically include those factors which can be the risk for our model. So that's from my point of view.
Okay. Any other question, please? So would you like to show the video, Dr. Miss Ira, which you have
Yeah,
planned?
if
I think it's
yeah,
only for 3 minutes. If you would like to show, please.
yeah. So first of all, I would like to show. Can you see my screen?
Very interesting question, Miss Iram, from Miss Fatima Khan. She is one of our IDA lab member, and mashallah, you can say the co-organizer of the lab.
Yeah, Fatma Han is saying you told us about teaching AI and ML to non-technical people. Could you share some reference? Yeah, basically, Fatma, that is very interesting question. I am working with women in AI Academy that is based in Germany, and the objective of that organization or academy is, if you are aware, in Germany, female get females get 3-year maternity leave. So they can join back after 3 years when their babies are able to basically go school or join any coaching center. So during that time, they take care of their children, but they feel gap from technical domains as well. So when they go back to their office and join them, if they have strong position, their position normally don't be the vacant, so they would have to struggle again to get the same position after 3 years or whatever. So that was one of the agenda of my CEO, who has established this academy. And second was that, you know, machine learning and data science is basically interdisciplinary field. Fashion industry is involved in there, that business is involved in that, and you can say marketing is involved in that, medicine is involved in that. So when it is already multidisciplinary field and everyone can join that. So if you see, there are many built-in plugins and built-in models which a non-technical person can do. So basing upon these all things, we created a group where we invite everyone who want to join that, and we have, various females from business background, various female from, you can say, statistic background, female from fashion industry, female from arts, female from communication sciences background. So they are learning, and we are going to basically end this batch in August soon, inshallah. And they are doing basically very good project, like one is doing project on in you can say, like safe environment. One is doing that, how much car have distance, basically uh, decreasing accident on road. So it is just letting the other person know that how distance from one car to another car should be, and the other vehicle as well, because normally we see the car in front of us or from back. So if some bike is in speed, so at some distance, it will intimate you that you are at risk, you should be basically in, you can say that, in precautionary state, that there can be some vehicle in our speed, or there can be a jump, or there can be such thing. So one woman from fashion industry is doing that. So that is a very very good example. You can do it as a non-technical person as well, because you are not going to write each and every code and each and every statistical model or everything. You have already model, you just need to understand your objective and just plug in everything over there.
Here, I would like to add something. Inshallah, we have prepared already the proposal. Almost is in the acceptance process. With the collaboration of Miss Iram in the month of August, inshallah, we are offering the workshop, intensive workshop of 3 weeks, where our aim is like the people who are not technical or who have no the core background of AI and machine learning, how to teach them with the basic Python, starting from the beginners and inshallah up to the level of at least not at the advanced, but at least it should be up to the beginner level of the machine learning application.
Yeah,
And definitely, we will introduce all those tools which the people without the technical background they can initially learn what is basically the data science, ML, even the DL, deep learning. Some tools are there where you can get the very good understanding and very basic application, which will be good. And not only for our own knowledge, we can apply them in our teaching learning process as well. So, inshallah, soon we will offer this. Thank you so much.
inshallah. So I was just showing you this WHO website. If you see that there are basically data science technique behind this visualization. If you click anywhere, you can see the information, you can see the trends, you can click